The year is 2050, and in a quiet village in the Congo, Africa, a baby is born to a 13-year-old mother. This is a special baby because his birth represents a milestone in human history. Namely, the world's human population now stands at 12 billion. Unfortunately, his mother does not know even how to feed herself and is fearful her newborn baby will soon perish from starvation. The story is the same in many parts of the world. Even in the United States, food shortages have pushed the price of staple food items out of reach for nearly 18% of the American population. CNN runs stories every night showing children that are starving in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. The press and the people are demanding action from the White House. A presidential conference is being held to discuss the current state of the food shortage. Official crisis meeting is being held today, March 12, 2050, in the Oval Office of the White House. There's crazy talk. You're a traitor. General, stay calm. You're the Secretary of Defense. You think you wouldn't have such a short fuse? I'm sure this is a misunderstanding. Please let the head of Department of Agriculture explain everything again, only this time more slowly. Thank you, Mr. President. As I was saying, the United States is experiencing a food shortage and people are hungry but not starving. More specifically, if we fail to take the correct action right now, this whole thing could spin out of control in a very short time. If that happens, CNN will be running stories on children dying of starvation, and I do not think that will be good news for the president re-election campaign. All I'm saying is a good first step in the right direction would be for the US government to stop paying farm subsidies to farmers for not paying their land and use that money to reinvest in US agriculture, infrastructure, and education for the general public in developing countries. I'm not sure that I follow you. I've already taken campaign contributions from the farm lobby. I can't give them back. Our top scientists point to two possible problems that are the root cause of the current food shortage. First, inefficient production of food and/or second, overpopulation. Overpopulation. Amen. Everyone knows the planet is overpopulated. No, that's not true, yet. However, if the population growth rates continue in the same direction without some type of increased efficiency in food production or some new innovation, the direct result will be overpopulation and massive overconsumption. At that point, the population demands will overwhelm the planet's resources. More specifically, fresh water, land, trees, fossil fuels, and especially food will be depleted. In short, the Earth's capacity of providing food for every human being will be end. Then we should be preparing for war, not raping my defense budget. This is my point. Everything that we have learned in the past indicates that there's a consistent relationship between the level of education attained by the women in society and their birth rates per capita. More specifically, the data shows in each and every case that successful education programs were implemented for women in underdeveloped countries results in decreased birth rates and more human productivity. Moreover, the opposite has been shown to be true. For example, the war of 2018 with Eastern Europe in connection with oil drilling rights was very expensive.
I agree. Stupid war cost us hundreds of billions of dollars that we didn't have. Not to mention that stupid war cut off all our diplomatic relations to Western Europe.
Exactly. Both in dollars and human capital. Instead of those hundreds of billions going into the US education or US infrastructure, it went to destroying both the US and Eastern Europe's education and infrastructure. Moreover, it took 30 years for Eastern Europe agriculture to recover. I do not think it has still recovered and is contributing to our current food shortage because millions of acres of farmland was ruined for raising crops when the oil fields were set on fire to keep them from becoming US possessions. Two noteworthy things happened during this war. First, the number of high school graduates in both the US and Eastern Europe fell during and after the war. And second, at the same time, the birth rates for both regions increased sharply. Again, everything that we have learned in the past indicates that there is a consistent relationship between the level of education attained by the women in society and their birth rates per capita. Are you saying that the war of 2080 was a mistake? I will have you know, I fought in that war and it was successful from the beginning until the end. Who cares if a few of the enemy go hungry? They killed you as military men. Gentlemen, we are not here to discuss war history. The head of Department of Agriculture is telling us how to prevent our own hunger crisis. Mr. President, more than 18% of our population is suffering from this food shortage. We need to plan for the future by eliminating farm subsidies for farmers not to grow crops. The best farmland in the world is growing grass for lazy cows on the pasture. This prime farmland must be utilized, or overpopulation will occur sooner rather than later. Stop complaining, Mr. Agriculture. So you think that paying lazy cows and they're consuming food on government-subsidized land causing this food shortage?
Actually, I don't remember any bills where money was paid for subsidies to farm animals, just farmers.
Because the last cows who didn't need electricity but food lived in Europe! I'm sorry! Because the last cows who didn't need electricity but food lived in Europe. I don't like European beef too much, but a Texas steak sounds good. Mr. Agriculture, are you telling us that the government caused the current food shortage crisis by paying farmers not to farm the land? The reason the government pays farmers for not growing crops was initially a substitute for agriculture price support programs designed to ensure farmers could always sell their crops for enough to support themselves. The price support program meant that farmers had to insure the expense of plowing their fields, fertilizing, spraying, and harvesting them, and then selling their crops to the government, which stored them into silos until they either rotted or were consumed by rodents. I do not say that our government causes this crisis, but until now, it did not do anything productive against it either, General. Mr. Secretary of Treasury, you just supported my solutions, build up education, stimulate innovation, and develop technology both here and abroad. To pay for this, we should stop paying farmers for not growing crops and stop going to war with other countries and destroying their capability to produce food.
Traitor! The U.S. will cut subsidies going to the nation's farmers and military personnel!
So, we stay with our plan, Mr. President? Yes, Mr. Secretary of Defense. Declare war on Canada. That should solve our water problem. Sure, war will strain relations. I will need an increase in my budget. And I won't spend my military budget on diplomatic relations, punk!